Hello, I'm Will and this is the 5 Minute Movie Club where I take roughly 300 seconds of your time and take you through the best of film and TV. Today we're delving into virus related movies. COVID-19 saw a huge surge in the interest of movies that predict a pandemic related demise for our civilization, but which are the best? Here's my top 5. Such is the accuracy of Contagion's comparisons with society's response to the COVID-19 pandemic that you wonder whose crystal ball director Steven Soderbergh borrowed in order to make the movie. So many things that became daily life were predicted here almost 10 years before it. We see face masks, PPE, stockpiling hand sanitizer, movie-esque graphics in news coverage, the strain of public lockdown, and a discussion of things we're all suddenly experts on, like R0. If you hadn't already guessed, Contagion is centered around the spread of a deadly virus started by, yep, you guessed it, a bat. Contagion has the same terrifying near-future prophecies that make the Black Mirror series so gripping. Knowing what we know now, it leaves you leaping behind your sofa in terror at the sight of something as innocuous as a hand being put on a rail. You'll notice the fine cast here too, with Damon, Colitard, Winslet and Cranston among it. I wouldn't recommend Contagion for those who are genuinely gripped by fear of the COVID-19 outbreak, but if that's the case, you're watching the wrong video. For everyone else, the movie is an unforgiving look at how society might further break down when an even deadlier virus hits. Matt Reeves has taken much of the credit for the success of the reboot of the Planet of the Apes franchise, but his two sequels were built on excellent foundations formed by Rupert Wyatt's Rise of the Planet of the Apes. The first film establishes the character of Caesar, an ape whose diet of a new Alzheimer-curing drug has accelerated his cognitive abilities to match that of humans. We see him go from excitable toddler to moody teenager, all under the watch of carer Will, played by James Franco. Predictably, when raising a pet with higher intelligence than the average Joe, all doesn't run smoothly. Caesar is locked up for attacking a neighbour, where the treatment of him and his fellow apes at the hands of that sinister one from Harry Potter turns Caesar against humans. Caesar exposes the human race to a deadly virus before rounding up his chimp chums to give rise to the Planet of the Apes. Almost a decade on from release, the movie's special effects still excel. Andy Serkis is mesmerising as Caesar and further established his position as king of the facial capture performance. There's even some stylised virus-spreading graphics for good measure in what laid the foundation for Reeves to develop one of this century's best trilogies. A mid-90s gem from Terry Gilliam, 12 Monkeys is a showcase of how movies can be re-evaluated depending on the circumstances of when you're watching it. In 12 Monkeys, Bruce Willis is sent back in time to find the source of a deadly virus that has devastated the planet. Before COVID-19, the futuristic sci-fi vibes of the film seemed to be the most prominent theme, but today the central idea of a catastrophic virus hits harder. Still, the oddball sci-fi elements are still what I love most about Gilliam's kooky hit. The futuristic machinery, atmospheric mist and peculiar outfits of those from the future make for a bizarrely entertaining ride. Willis puts in a typically bullish turn, with the only misstep being Brad Pitt's strangely over-egged performance. Anyway, based on the 1962 film La Jetée, Gilliam's 12 Monkeys balances numerous themes and genres to build a movie that's exhilarating right up to its satisfactory conclusion. A jumble of time-travelling thriller, dystopian sci-fi and even end-of-the-world rom-com, 12 Monkeys is a virus movie must. No virus spreading movie countdown would be complete without the most Hollywood of outcomes from a viral disease, zombies. 28 days before Cillian Murphy takes that stroll through a deserted London, animal rights activists release a collection of enraged chimps who are infected with a deadly virus that transforms its victims into mindless human-craving maniacs. Murphy pieces together what's going on thanks to harrowing missing people's photos and help from companions such as Naomi Harris and Brendan Gleeson. For me, a couple of things elevate 28 Days Later to sit alongside the very best in the zombie genre. For one, it's actually pretty scary, a rare occurrence despite being one of horror's most popular staples. But what I love even more about this movie is how much I believe in its central characters and the other survivors that are met along the way. There are some truly tender moments which leads to a greater heartbreak when things go sour, and in a genre where the characters are all too often box-ticking exercises, 28 Days Later brings refreshing change. It also contains one of modern horror's most iconic scenes on Westminster Bridge, setting up a film that consistently portrays a decimated, desperate planet and the lonely folk who now inhabit it. It's one of Danny Boyle's most impressive pieces of filmmaking. Admittedly, the level at which some of these movies are about viruses is debatable, but I felt that Children of Men's dystopian world and parallels to today were too much to ignore. In Children of Men, it's been 18 years since the last child was born and a devastating influenza outbreak tore through the population. Up steps Clive Owen, who is tasked with leading pregnant Key to safety. The state's crisis tactics and general rhetoric draws many comparisons with today's populist movement. The government fall back on British exceptionalism and attempt to revoke the wartime spirit. As people flock to Britain, the state's attempts to whip up hatred against immigrants is an all too familiar sight. There are plenty of nods to the ongoing refugee crisis too. Children of Men criminally underperformed at the box office, but received awards recognition with the Best Picture nomination. It also made many sit up and take note of its director, Alfonso Cuarón, where he established the one-shot technique he's now famous for. Children of Men is more of a totalitarian state warning with virus undertones, but the quality of its execution means it makes it onto my shortlist of must-watch pandemic movies. Thanks for watching. Whether you agree or disagree with my selections, then please give us a like and subscribe for more from the 5 Minute Movie Club. But until next time, see you later.